You guys ever leave the house without headphones? Woo. Thoughts are not good. My God, this whole time I thought I loved music. Turns out I just hate my brain. Just being attacked all day long with this insecurity playlist on shuffle. What are you doing with your life? You drink too much. Gonna die alone? You call that a penis? Oh, bad head. My brain is evil. It like attacks me. It's like a bully. You know? I'll be at a party, hanging out, everybody's having a good time, talking. My brain's like, hey, you weirdo. You're being too quiet. Everybody's wondering why you're such a quiet weirdo. Come on. Get in there. Say something, you lunatic. Come on, you freak. Jump in, you psycho. Come on, get in there. You finally say something, your brain goes, whew, that's what you picked? I actually bumped into a girl on the street recently in Manhattan that I used to, bang. She was a fun gal, real Tomcat in the sack, real firecracker, but she would always say things in bed that would just kind of backfire. Like, I remember one time she looked me right in the eye. She goes, around me, I never want to see your penis soft. And I know she was trying to sound hot, but it just came off as terrifying. I felt like I was in a boxing movie. I was like, come on, buddy, don't go down. Hang in there. You can do it. A couple more rounds. Come on. I got to be honest, ladies. Once she said that, I had to end it with her. I had to stop seeing her. Because, ladies, you got to realize, the soft penis, that's who guys really are. Right? That's the real guy deep down. Everybody loves a boner, but that's not the real you. Right? That's the cool guy. That's you when you turn it on. That's you at a job interview or a cocktail party. I'm the guy who likes to sit at home on the couch eating potato chips. That's a flaccid penis. You see what I'm saying? The boner's amazing. I have way more in common with my soft, wrinkly, disgusting, flaccid penis than I ever will with my erection. My boner's strong, confident, got great posture. I'm nervous, insecure, and squishy. Ladies, you can't tell a guy that. Come on. Can't tell a guy that, hey, I never want to see you soft. That's like me telling a girl, hey, I never want to see you without makeup. My boner is my mascara. It's all I have. Oh, boy. Wish that wasn't true. Got to tell you, this might be the best I've ever done. I do not go over all the time. So, this is nice. Yeah. I think my problem with the ladies is I want you all to like me. That's my problem. You gals, you're a tough nut to crack. Because you're all different. That's the thing. You know, like some girls like a nice guy. Some girls like jerks. So how do you know? What I do both. I see an attractive lady. I open the door for her and I say, after you, fatty. Mix it up. Cover your bases, you know? But, you know, and these are all just jokes about women. I love the ladies. I try to be a good feminist, I do, which is tough nowadays, because some women are feminists and some women aren't. So as a guy, how do I know how to act? You know, like some girls, you open the door for them, they're like, wow, gentlemen, thank you very much. Other girls, you open the door for them, they're like, what, you think I can't open my own door? I'm like, whoa, hey, I'm just trying to bang you. Jeez Louise, how'd we get here? Good Lord. I used to work as a janitor. That was a rough gig. Mopping floors, cleaning bathrooms. I worked at this swanky law office in Midtown. Nobody looked me in the eye, nobody talked to me. I remember one day I was mopping the floor, and a businessman slipped. And he goes, Jesus, man, if the floor is wet, you got to put a sign down. I'm like, I'm mopping in front of you. I am the sign. You know the little guy on the sign doing this? That's me, but in 3D. Boy, the worst part was that my boss chewed me out after. He's like, come on, Mark, you're embarrassing me out there. I'm like, you're embarrassed? I went to college. Let me have this one. You know, then he'd say stuff to me like, hey, where'd you learn how to mop? I don't know, Fantasia? Who learns mopping, you know? Hate the day job. I hate it. I've had so many office gigs. I don't fit in at an office setting. You got to be very PC, very appropriate. I'm not a PC guy. I'm a comedian, you know? Last day job, I was talking to this guy at the front desk. I was delivering the mail, and I was like, hey, man, what's the name of that new guy on the 5th floor, the really tall black guy? And this guy goes, whoa, I don't see color. I was like, really? Did you really just say that? Did that really just come out of your face? So I looked this guy right in the eye, and I was like, hey, man, it's cool. I'm black. And he was like, no, you're not. And I'm like, aha.
Getting older's tough. Everything kind of starts falling apart when you get older, you know? About a year ago, I got paranoid about losing my hair, started taking Propecia, could not get an erection. You remember, sir? Yeah, right. This girl I was dating at the time was like, hey, you gotta get off those pills. I'd rather have an erection than hair. Which is nice to hear, but that only makes sense when you're dating somebody. It doesn't work in the beginning. Like if I was a bald guy that hit on her at a bar, like, hey, can I buy you a drink? She's like, I'm good. I'm like, I have a boner. Yeah. Hair loss is scary, man. I don't know if women realize how much guys think about that, you know? I was telling my friend, I'm like, I'm worried my hair's gonna thin. My friend goes, I know what you're going through, buddy. I'm going gray. I was like, well, changing color is a lot different than losing something, okay? That'd be like if I said, yeah, I went to the beach the other day, shark attack. I lost my leg. My friend's like, I feel you, man. Tan line.
I don't get the whole homophobia thing. That's a weird one. Any homophobes here? I did some shows in the South recently. I was talking to this guy after the show. I told him about a friend of mine who's gay. This guy goes, you have a gay friend? I wouldn't even shake a gay man's hand. I was like, Jesus Christ, why not? He goes, you know how many dicks are on that hand? I was like, well, you shook my hand. Are you okay with my dick? Because there's a lot of interaction between the two, all right? Yeah. Wow, that is terrible logic. You know who else touches a lot of dicks? Women. Yeah, man, they put them all over. You're screwed. Can't touch anything now. Come on. I don't know. I think homophobia can actually be kind of dangerous, you know? A friend of mine, he's kind of a tough guy. He went skydiving recently. He's like, yeah, I'm not strapping some guy to my back. That's super gay. Yeah, now he's dead.
It is Amazon Prime Day, whatever that means. I still can't get over that divorce. Most expensive one in history. And, you know, I'm not surprised that Jeff Bezos was seeing someone who was close with his wife, because, you know, classic Amazon. If you like this, here's something similar you might like. Yeah. All right. Yeah. They got a new box. But, all right. They let you pick your seat on a plane. I think I'd rather pick the person I'm sitting next to. You know? I don't really care where I am on the plane. It's like a 5-hour relationship. Make it more like a dating app. You know? Obese Nazi with a service dog? Swipe left. Tiny Asian lady with a surgical mask? That's my gal. Yes, she is not a talker, right? But just like a dating app, she shows up with a baby. I'm like, I got catfished. Yeah, I learned the hard way, too, that girls like when a guy has a plan ready for the date. He's got something planned out. Which, how did guys get stuck with that chore? Right? I had a girl ask me out once. We show up, we meet. She's like, hey, what are we doing? I'm like, I don't know, what are we doing? She's like, you didn't plan anything? I'm like, no. Did you? She's like, no. I'm like, well, then you're just as worthless as me. Why do I have to figure it out? I believe in equal rights. Can't we work on this together? And she was like, well, it's very manly when a guy plans a date. No, it's not. Just convenient for you. How's that manly? Chopping wood is manly. Wrestling a bear is manly. There's nothing manly about Googling tapas and bistros. Right? Come on, ladies. You got the right to vote in 1920. Let's use that on restaurants, huh? I don't know where to go. What, because I have a dick? I'm Zagat? Help me out. What the hell? Manly, come on. I've noticed women only call things manly when they like it about a guy. Oh, he pays for dinner, he protects me. Instead of like, oh, he wants to bang my friends going bald. He's so manly. Ah.
When I do get out of the house, I like to go to a park by my house. I love the parks. I went over to Fens in Boston today. That was a lot of characters over there. That's what I love about the parks in this country. The park is the only place you can see people trying to better their lives and people who have completely given up. You know what I mean? Where else can you see jogging and heroin? No, it's every walk of life. It's like gutter punk, hobo, dead body, field trip. Hey. Love going to the park. Where else can you see a guy feeding a squirrel next to a guy arguing with one? Good times at the park, yes. Last time I went to a park, I saw a gay rights rally. That was pretty cool. Any gay guys here? Well, that is statistically impossible. Come on, where are you, buddy? I'll find you. Huh? Right now there's some guy sitting next to his girlfriend going, what's he talking about, huh? I love the gays. I'm a big fan. Gay guys are the best. They're nothing but perks, you know? They're non-violent, they fix up neighborhoods, and they're generally smart people. You never really meet an ignorant gay guy. Like, you never meet a gay guy who's like, I only love 3 things. My truck, my gun, and dick. You You never hear that, And yeah, I had a guy say to me once, "Hey, Mark, you like gays so much, but what if you had a gay son?" I wouldn't mind having a gay son. Having a gay son's like finding a French fry in your onion rings. You're like, well, it's not what I expected, but I like these too. Oh, yeah. I'm on board with gay marriage. I like gay marriage, and I'll tell you why. I like gay marriage because it's that one big issue you can be honest about and still look like a good person. Let me explain. Like if somebody says, "Hey, man, how'd you feel about that earthquake in Haiti?" I don't care. Doesn't affect my life. Wow, what a dick. But if somebody says, "Hey, man, how do you feel about gays getting married?" I don't care. Doesn't affect my life. You got the right attitude. Very progressive, open-minded. I like that guy.